Okay, so it's 5:55 on the 22nd, Sunday. That's trippy. It was 5:55 on the 22nd. The There's a few things I want to talk about. We're in the middle of some kind of windstorm. It's so weird. I can just be on my phone at the same time. Um, yeah, so wind. I knew I saw it in the thing. It's supposed to be wind all day. Yesterday, before it even had the windstorm come in, just to go outside was so windy and so cold. But now we're in a windstorm. It was bothering Stella in the middle of the night. Now she's snoring her head off, of course, because she kept me up all night. And so she's tired. She needs some rest. But it was making so much noise. And this is nothing. When you go out into the shop, oh my God, it is so noisy. It sounds like the building's about to blow down. But it can withstand, like my brother said, like 120 or 180 miles per hour wind. So we're in our bunker. But last night, oh, my fingers are itching. And my ear, I think I may take some Benadryl and see if that doesn't dry it up. But it trips me out. I start getting so weirded out about there's bugs in my ear. But then I have to be logical and be like, well, it's winter. There's no bugs. They're all dead. And I have seen a fly or two, though. I saw a gnat the other day. I saw a fly the other day. I was like, what in the world? I was like, okay, government bugs, you're dead. But the wind, the cold. Oh yeah. So last night though, I this irritated me. But I mean, I obviously I can get irritated pretty easy. I just, but the so I was waiting for. Well, I had done my Chewy order, and it said that they were out of something. But I was thinking it was something else. And then when it came, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what they were out of? And it's the dog's TREATS's when they wait for that box. And I got notified that the box was getting delivered yesterday. And so I look, and then that's when I saw, like, oh my God, their TREATS's are missing. What? I said, they're going to have a meltdown. So I went on to Amazon real quick, and I'm trying to order them some. And of course, they didn't come for a long while after. But but anyways, so I ordered a couple, and one of them, they put it up at the end of the driveway in the wind. And it was just this little tiny thing, it's like, everybody else comes down and, puts it at the door. And they told me before, because when I first moved in, they couldn't find the address, and they kept going to the neighbors, and some were leaving it and stuff. And I was meeting them at the end of the driveway and say, did you just leave my package down there? And I had found out from one right in the beginning that the GPS tells them they're not at the right house. And but once they started, because they always take a picture, and once they start getting the picture, that shows the next delivery person where to put it. And so once they pin it of where they go and take the picture, then that makes each driver or delivery person easier and easier for them to know where to go, where to put it. And so for this one, just to randomly put it at the end of the driveway because they were scared of the dark. I had the lights on outside, and but it wasn't windy, and they didn't even put it anything to stabilize it or anything. They didn't put, because I even have a crate down there, a big wooden crate for packages in case a package gets left down there. And they didn't even put it inside of it. So the wind just blow it away. I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to go out and go get it. After I kept trying to go to bed and kept trying to go to bed. And everything was like being one thing after another. And it was worse because a lot of times at night that happens, but this was the worst one last night. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And I was so tired. My eyes were just like, it was almost like they were glassy or something. They were so tired, and they were so, and so when I went down there, I saw the moon, and it was, the crescent was at the bottom. And I had seen that guy yesterday. Well, I saw him a couple times yesterday. So he was really onto something. He was really tracking something. and he wasn't doing it on purpose. He said it just started coming to him. So he posted his moon, and it was like, this doesn't make any sense. This is impossible what's happening right now. And plus he has done a lot of, like, I think studying in astronomy, like in college or something. I don't know. He has extra studies in this whole thing with the sky. And so he in the sun had gone down, and then all of a sudden it's over here. And he was like, this is impossible, and how the moon is in this crescent and stuff, and the way the light and all of stuff, whatever he was talking about. And so I'm thinking, well, I've seen the crescent on the bottom a bunch of times lately, and I've said it's weird, but he went even further. So there was a bunch of people posting it all around the globe, if you can call it the globe, all around the world. And even in New Zealand, like, from one angle it was one thing, and from another angle it was another. So he was talking about that we're all seeing it from all these different perspectives, and he's talking about there being more to the stuff with the moon. I don't even remember all the stuff he was saying, but the part about all the different perspectives, because that was more in alignment with what the stuff that I had said before, is that we're not all like this flat plane of existence. We're all in these different places. So yeah, we're going to have totally different views of the moon. And then plus, how is it in this place that is supposed to be way over here at the same time it's at this place? And so, yeah, I think that the whole storyline is kind of breaking down. So just pay attention to your moon right now, I guess, because it seems to be, it's part of the storyline that's breaking down, which Amy had just sent me a video this morning that CNN was putting on a thing about people doing DMT, I think it is, and or DHT, some kind of drug, and I don't know if it's a hallucinogenic, if it's what it is really, but they're doing it, and then they're seeing into other worlds and stuff, and they're using these laser lights, and they're looking into the lights, and they're seeing codes and all sorts of stuff. And but I just found it kind of unusual that it would be CNN that would be putting that out there. And so I think it's just more disclosure, more to just get you to look at things and see things in a broader perspective, which this is something that was in the middle of the night when I was awake, and it was just eating at me. And so I did a video in the dark, which I don't know if anybody's even seen it. But, but I did do a couple of the moon on my shorts on here. But so okay, let me think back what I was saying. So the shorts, oh yeah, because in the middle of the night, so I had this, it just was like eating at me. So I had seen this video yesterday, and this lady, she said, she was talking to these beings from the future in her meditation or something. So she went into a meditation, and she started talking to these beings from the future. They were talking in telepathy. So before she would even ask the question, they were already answering it. So she was talking about, they had told her in the future there is no Caucasians. That's what they said to her, or that's how she interpreted it. And so she asked, why? Why is there no Caucasians? And they said, because as time goes on, the sun becomes too intense, and so they all just keep dying off. And so I kept going in my mind, and I was like, that is not in alignment to the future I see. And if there would stop being Caucasians, the way I would see it would be because people would continue to mix. People will continue to mix, and which I think a lot of this thing about the white people is lab created, and so and all the other planetary systems, lands, the other lands, because it's not planets out in the sky. They're lands across the water, the plasma field. And so the mostly everybody who's a humanoid is darker, like an islander or something, like a tribe person. So I think that they did something, like I've talked about a zillion times. I think they were doing something to try and create white people, to create a droid, to create like a robotic kind of person by removing the melanin in their skin, because the melanin is like a transmitter for the being to their soul. And so it is, so I think they were trying to do something like that with the DNA and stuff. And so anyways, they're always doing weird stuff, but that's what I think, is something like that. And so in the future, if there was not white people, it'd be because they're not making anymore, and then slowly but surely it just like they just kind of weed out, and people aren't just strictly white anymore. And but the thing that was getting me is that there's a whole bunch of timelines that are becoming available. And so when you were listening to these people who are talking about the future, it's up to you if you want to buy into their future. It's up to you if you want to buy into the future I see. You know, it's up to you where it is that you want to go, if you have that conscious ability of choice. A lot of people aren't even to the point of choice at this time. They are just being maneuvered through their emotions, and that's the trap that I've talked about too, is it's trapping them. There's this weird grid system going across me. I never noticed that before, but I don't know what that's all about, so maybe it's always there. But anyways, it's this weird grid. All of a sudden I was like, what is that? So anyways, but so when you are determining, you know, and you're listening to all these people, because you got all sorts of people out there talking about all sorts of futures, but that's their future. That's the future that they're seeing. That's the future they're being prepared for. You don't have to go to their future, you know. And when you have a conscious awareness, start being the creator of your own reality. You start going in the direction that you want to go into, which I just saw this video talking about. As you heal, well, I saw one talking about as you heal, a lot of people, they become more like hermits. They don't want to be around people and stuff like that. And then they start thinking, what's wrong with me? You know, if I'm being more spiritual and stuff, why aren't I being more good with everybody? But the thing is that the world is like, you start not fitting. You start not being able to fit. And everything starts becoming really weird, and conversations are so shallow, and how people look at things, it's like, so a lot of people start becoming more isolated and start becoming more focused on themselves, focused on their growth. So just keep that in mind. But so this other girl, she was talking about, and it was part 4, so I didn't see all her parts, so I may have been missing some of the stuff, but she was saying the people who can manifest the fastest, which to me, it depends on what it is you're manifesting, and everything has to do with timing. And so, like, for instance, a home. Well, I know there's a home up ahead, but I'm not sure when or where or how it comes to be. But I know there's one up ahead. So to manifest, well, I have a home. I have someplace to live. So I have a structure, you know, I'm inside of. So but when you start thinking about like all the things you want, well, I really want to, you know, a few bedrooms. I want the dogs to have a bedroom. I want a big dressing room, like all the things that you want in your home. I want a yoga room or meditation room, whichever, you know, like an office room, like a room that's just for that kind of stuff. So so anyways, but when you start like putting it out into the universe, like the things that you want, but at some point it comes to you, and it's not like you can rush it, because you don't know all the steps that it takes to get there. But there's smaller manifestations that you can get really quick. So it just depends on, to me, And what my experience has been, it depends on what you're manifesting. So big things can take longer and little things can come quicker. And, but, that's the way I see it. But so she was talking about once you become more heal, or no, I don't think she was talking about healing. She kept saying about manifesting. Once you become an instantaneous manifester, then you are to a point in your vibration or whatever that now you can be in any role that you want to be in. And it's like, okay, so to me is, and I've talked about this before, so it's going to be kind of repeat, but when you are manifesting yourself into your best life, you are going in a direction and you've got to take action in that direction. So to me, you're shown or you're told or you have a feeling about something and you've got to blindly go in that direction. And so then that can look really crazy to people. And then those are obstacles you have to overcome in your own believing in your own self and stuff. So it becomes a journey in its own, going towards your own manifestation of your best self. And when she was saying like you can go into any role, I'm like, yeah, but the whole journey is authenticity. It's not like, well, I'm going to go play this role for a while. It's like, what are you talking about? Like acting in life? Like you want to, I'm going to play this role for a while. And then when I'm sick of that role, I'm going to go over and play this role for a while. Like, I don't know what every soul is here for. I don't know what every soul is doing here. I know for me, in my journey, that it has to do with authenticity. It has to do with trusting yourself. It has to do with setting boundaries for yourself. It has to do with taking responsibility for yourself in your relationships, in your own toxic behaviors, and believing in yourself and going in a direction that can seem crazy to other people. So that's my journey. I don't know about all these other people. Like, I don't know where they're coming from, what they're doing here. I don't know if they are creating confusion. I don't know if they really are just guessing, and I don't know if they've got certain beings telling them things. I'm not really sure. But yeah, to me it's not just like, well, now I'm going to play this I'm going to pretend to be this, I'm going to pretend to be that. And the whole thing is about trying to shed all the parts of you that are fake, that aren't real, that's the part of you questioning yourself and trying to understand yourself so that you can kind of dissect yourself and get rid of the broken parts of yourself so that you can become back to your purity, the authenticity of self, the uniqueness of you. And that is, and it's not like a spectrum. Your spectrum of self would be all the broken parts of yourself. Once you get down to the purity of you, that is your authenticity. That is you at your core. That is the essence, your essence of you. And the essence of you is a certain vibration. And all of the different spaces that you hold in this spectrum of self through the broken spectacles, the broken facades of yourself, those all hold different vibrations. And that's what, to me, you're working on to clear out and move out of certain vibrations. So the more lower vibrations that hold you more stagnant are the ones that you're trying to cleanse. It's not like you're trying to become somebody you're not. Your focus is to become the person you are and not be bothered by what other people think about you, but to be happy with yourself. And so it's not, to me, that, you do shuffle through different parts of yourself as you're healing. But to me, it's like, yeah, the person I was before is just like a person along the path. It's not who I was. It was who I had become. And until I decided to take time to heal my wounds and to try and focus on loving myself and stop trying to focus on pleasing others. And when you're trying to please others, you give up parts of yourself. And not only that, you become very it becomes very shady in your boundaries, where you have a real difficulty seeing between you and them. And so to define yourself becomes more clarity, where your boundaries become more distinct, more significant, where then you go into the practice of setting them and becoming very uncomfortable by telling somebody, no, I'm not going to do that. Nope, I can't do that. Because everybody will pull and pull and pull on you, and they're not there to trouble you. They're there to help you define or refine your boundaries. So they're there to help push you into being able to define yourself, to refine your boundaries so that you can become like a being of clarity of self. And so it's so the people who come in to test you aren't there because they just, they want to cause you problems. They're there because you want to be tested. And so it was all set up before you even came here. That's your transits. That's your orbit. That's who's coming through your life at certain times. And everything is so specific on timing. These people into your life is right as it is time for you to practice or test yourself on certain parts of yourself that you've been working on. So it's all like for you. All these things happening are for you. It's not like the universe is against you and trying to make it hard on you. It's you are having these people come in because you are trying to refine all of your parts of yourself. So anyways, to me, the whole journey, like that's a lot in itself. The journey to self, the journey to authenticity. And so to think like, well, I'm going to become this person for a while, and then I'm going to go play this role for a while because I'm just manifesting it as fast as I can. So I'm going to go play a millionaire for a while. Then I'm going to go play that's more about the reincarnation cycle. That's more of you come in to play different beings, different parts, different people, in different experiences. So you get to play a whole bunch of different people. But that's the part of you that starts carrying the burdens from each person you've played. And so that's why you have to start figuring out, like, wait a minute, am I this? Or was it I this way because I went through something? And so that's where you start, dissecting yourself and start letting go of the parts that aren't really you to your core. And that's why there's so many things happening in the world right now to help you refine or define how you feel about things so that you can really find yourself. It's like finding the pearl inside the oyster. You got to find yourself through all of this mess. And but when you use it to your benefit, it helps you to be able to define yourself, to be able to figure yourself out. So it's it's valid for what it is, like a lot of people think, oh, it's just the awakening or whatever, but really it's the finding yourself, remembering yourself, figuring yourself out. And especially when you've gone through so many lifetimes and you are, kind of lost and spiritually depleted. Like a lot of people don't even have a connection at all to their spirit. And even when you talk about it, they think it sounds like nonsense. And it's like, but you are the spirit. It's like, how disconnected are you from yourself? You are the spirit. And so it's, that's the whole thing about the awakening, the remembering, the finding yourself. That's the journey to self. And so, anyways, but so when you're hearing all these different people, you got to see, like, how does that sit with me? What do I think about this? And is this a future I want to go to? Do I want to go to a future where the sun starts being something that they starts killing people? Like, because the future I'm going to is like it's more of a harmonic. It's more harmony. Nature has harmony. It's more beautiful and stuff. And I don't know how far it is up ahead. I don't think it's because those people, the beings she said she was talking to, they were talking like a couple hundred years. I was like, couple hundred years that we're going to be battling the sun? I don't think so. I think that the generation that is here currently, like us, those of us who are becoming, the elderly, that we are stepping into a time where we're going to go backwards. We're going to go into a time where we don't die. Like, we're going to live in a period of time where we see, 150-year-old lady pregnant. Something that we thought was impossible. Like, how do you even live to be 150, much less be pregnant? Because we are going through a reset. We're going through a period of time where we become more connected to our soul. And that is, in order to connect more to your soul, you have to disconnect more from the flesh and blood, more from the material, more from the three-dimensional concept of existence, where there's so much coming out to help you, even on CNN, to help you understand that this is a simulation. This isn't real. Like, this is, it's a game, it's a movie, it's a video, it's whatever you want to think of it as, that you come in to experience through a storyline, because it helps you to define yourself, to figure yourself out. You go through different experiences, and through the different experiences, then you don't always, every lifetime, you don't go through what we're going through right now. This is because it's the end of a cycle. So the cycle is ending. So that's where it's the wrap up, where you got to go in and try and really discover yourself and figure yourself out in all of the parts of you that you have been involved in, all the storylines that you've played. Because you carry baggage, you carry burdens from those timelines. And so that's the heaviness. Then plus, when you've been in this same, it's like we, because if you say like in the same space, it is, it's more of like being in this realm with these beings. So these beings that are old, they're ancient, they've been around a long time. We're the ones coming and going. I've talked about this before, because then they have a hard time even recognizing who you are, but they've been around a long time. And so, when they're showing like Jeffrey's still out, Jizz is still out, and stuff like that, then I'm thinking, because I saw people saying, oh, this has got to be a CLO and an E, it's got to be this or that, because everybody's been doing breakdowns on the Jizz's face, which she's in Quebec. So she's non-cute. She's in Quebec. She's in Canada. And it sounds, it's identical. It's her. And except for the platinum. And so to me, it is, because I don't know what all of the stuff is. It's like, because some of these other beings, it isn't, like that meeting, like that is, what are we going to arrest every single person who's ever eaten a chicken, ever eaten a cow, who's ever eaten anything? Like, some of these beings, it's authorized. And then I don't know, about all this, this traffic, there's a lot of stuff, but I just don't know that it's all like how we want revenge or punishment or something like that. But, some of these beings are ancient. What are you going to do? And that's why the thing to me is that we want to get out of here. We want to escape here. We want to get away from here. But they're doing everything they can to keep you here, to keep you in frustration, to keep you in anger, to keep you in bitterness, to keep you in sadness and fear and all that, because those are the trappings. So they can trap you in this realm, and so that keeps you in their world. And so it's the things that you have to let go of in order to escape, to get out of it. So, man, I'm uncomfortable sitting however I'm sitting. So, anyways, it's and this is like, I feel like I'm on repeat. I'm just keep saying the same things over and over. Oh, I gotta pull this leg up now. Yeah, I got the allergies. They're just killing me, man. These allergies, fuck, man. So but so they'll keep you trapped as long as they can. But that's why you need to, the remembering. And then when people are saying all this stuff like, well, this is the future I see, this is the future I see, a lot of people don't even see a future. A lot of people see like, well, everything's about to end. Well, that's your timeline. That's not my timeline. And I don't know how we get to the next place. But if it ends, we're not ending. You got to have your conscious awareness of self, so that you can direct yourself into where it is you want to go. And I did a couple TikToks talking about, I don't know, same stuff I'm talking about. And somebody said, I think I said something, I was saying something about aliens. A lot of people think that they understand about aliens, but they don't, because they aren't just like monsters out in the sky. They aren't demons. They're just all different individual beings in different spaces in time, experiencing different parts of themselves. And it's all it all has to do with your vibration. And even here, we aren't the vibration that we represent. So many people represent such a low vibration, but inside your high vibration, and then I think that becomes the battle inside of themselves, and they don't really try and understand or get to the core. They just fight themselves. And so but there's definitely the darker realm, and then like I said, there's the mid, and then there's the higher. And a lot of beings, we're around a lot of low vibration beings, but there's lots of high vibration beings, and we think of them as being aliens. But they're really just multidimensional beings that can move through dimensions, but they don't really come down here because it's uncomfortable. But it's more like we're raising to come up towards them more. So they're not just coming down to our level, we're coming more up to their level. And that's why, we'll start being more interacting with them. But this person said, well, do aliens have a God? It's like, well, high vibration beings don't worship. It would be like, you're a high vibration being living in a neighborhood, and you go out to your neighbor and go, hey, will you be my God? I'm going to worship you because I think you're cool. It's like, no, they're all in a sense of sovereignty. They're not, because when the only real true God is like the mind of the universe, the energy of the universe, which we are all I keep hitting into this, I think. We are all the fragments. So it's like we come from a source of energy, but we are all the fragments of the energy. So if you put us all together, then we would create a God, because we would all be that what is, and but it is more of a mind, it's more of a consciousness, it's more of a brain of that holds memory and holds aspects of experience. So it's not, like this big guy in charge of your life and trying to make things hard on you. And there's not some God out there that you're meant to worship and beg for mercy. There is there's lots of beings out there that will jump onto that title. There's a lot of beings that want to be worshipped. There's a lot of beings that are in their ego and stuff, but they would end up being lower dimensional beings. Even ones where they talk about gods and goddesses and stuff being here. Well, during the period of time, then if there was more primitive beings that looked at the more advanced beings as gods, then they would give them a title like that. But a lot of those beings were just more advanced beings. They weren't trying to be worshipped. So, because there's lots of goddesses and stuff they talk about, like, I don't know, you hear Sophia a lot. You hear about Lilith. You hear about all these different beings, but they aren't there trying to be worshipped. I think that at the point of time of where it was like the Greek gods and stuff, that I think there did become like a competitiveness during a period of time where there was a lot of more advanced beings around a lot of more primitive beings, and then they kind of fed into the worship, and then there became a competitiveness of trying to be better than one another. So I think there was this battle of the gods, battle of the titans or whatever at some point in time, but they're all on their own journey. Every single soul is on their own journey, and so it could be that was just a part of their journey of becoming. They could be totally in a different space at this point, is what I'm saying. So just because they were at some point in time battling other higher beings because they were trying to prove who's the better god in reference, then they that doesn't mean they're still in this space of being in that mindset. So everything is always evolving. You're going through experiences. Oh my gosh, I can't believe my knees and my legs are just, I'm so uncomfortable. That's the thing. I just keep being so uncomfortable. Even when I'm sleeping, it's like my body just keeps hurting. It's like, yeah, I sit for 1 second, like, I mean, like I sit like this for a minute, then all of a sudden my arm's gonna be like, oh my God, it hurts. It's weird. I guess like anything that I sit for very long in one position, it just starts hurting. And it, I've gone through these things before. I keep on thinking it's got to be something with the energy on the planet or something that is, you just pick up on it. Or it could be the frequencies. Because I just saw a thing about, somebody was talking about our phones, and they are putting out, which I know, like when you try and videotape with it, that it doesn't pick up the colors right. And this person is saying there's like this ultra, like this is from these studies or tests they were doing. But so the whole time you're on your phone, that it is putting out these flashes of light, this red light that is trying to like read you the whole time while you're looking at stuff. And so you don't see these flashes, but that they interfere with your cells. And so, and then they were saying also, besides interfering with your cells, is it a form of some type of mind, kind of control? Is it a frequency kind of thing too? So there's a lot of things being noticed that affect us, that are a part of, to keep us in line, to keep us controlled. So yeah, something weird about the phone and the light and the flashing, and that has something to do with how it picks up the weird color spectrum or something. So anyways, I just saw a thing about that, but you'd have to look it up, and I don't even know. Some of this stuff is all like new things that people are starting to figure out and stuff. So it's not like everything's on CNN or anything like that. So anyways, when you are hearing about the people talking about the future's this, future's that, you don't have to buy into their future. You don't have to participate. You don't have to be like, well, that's what they said, that's the future. It's like, that's where they're going. You can go with them. If that's not where you want to go, don't go. Like, because when when everything starts separating, we're going to go to where we align. We're going to go to where our vibration leads us. That's where you're going to be, is going to be where your vibration is. And the highest vibration is the sense of, not being judgy, not being judgmental towards others, not being resentful, being very caring and loving. Just like when people talk about when they have their near-death experiences and they go up into the highest heavens or wherever, when they go to the heavens, then the beings that they meet up with, all they feel is pure love. They feel acceptance. They feel love. They don't feel judgment. Well, that's the high vibration. So if you want to be in higher vibration, where you get to live the life how you want to live it, you get to live and experience what you want to experience, then you need to work on getting to that space. And you can see there's a target there. You can see where it is you're headed to. And when it's like, that's why you have all these things to notice, well, am I being judgmental? Am I being hateful? Am I accepting others? Because that's where you're going. And everybody's going to be at different stages. So some people go to worlds where, it's like in the heavens, you can be here or there. You're going to look like how you want to look. You're going to be healthy. You're going to live a long time. You're going to be able to, now all of a sudden, Ruthie's decided she's going to wake Stella up because she wants to play. Ruthie wants to play with Stella all the time. It was kind of cute when they play, but Ruthie wants to play all the time. Stella's snoozing her head off. Oh, that's her, it's like snore of I'm waking up. I'm trying to wake up. She's always waking me up. Oh, now she's going to... Oh, there she goes. Here she goes. God, she's cute. I love her so much. Ruthie, she's such a little... Ruthie's a little challenge. Oh, and Max. Right at his waist point, he's really looking thin. My daughter was like, you got to check about the scoping thing and see, how much is it. And so I called. There's only one that does it anywhere around here. Maybe if I went all the way to Boise, but... So I called, and it was a 24-hour hospital, but the internists are only there Monday through Thursday, and so I had to leave a message with the internist, so they should call me back tomorrow. But I want to know how much it is, and then also what are we looking for? And if we find this or that, are we just going to look for cancer? Because then we're going to put them on some kind of CHGMO, because that's where I'm not going to do it. And I'm already treating him the best I can with, natural stuff, which I told my daughter yesterday, and she's like, yeah, but does that even work? And I said, yeah, well, you go on to TikTok and stuff, and you see people talking about it. Yeah, people have, their dogs were diagnosed, and they said, well, there's nothing we can do. They put them on the turkey tail, and then their dog's living years later. So, some of this stuff really works. And, geez, look at with Stella. How far, I didn't know. When we went to that MedBed Center place, the healing center, I didn't know, what, if she was going to even make it, man. So, the vet was like, well, I think it's an inner ear infection. Okay, an inner ear infection that didn't go away, and her face still droops. Why would the inner ear infection cause her face to droop? Even when I was at the vets the other day, they were like, yeah, but they could see it because one eye is open and one eye is more droopy. It's just like, gosh, she's so cute. She looks over at me. I love her. So, yeah, these supplements, yeah, they are effective. They do work. And so, yeah, that's why I'm doing it on him. But... yeah, the things I hear about the CHGMO and all that stuff, it's not as positive. So, yeah, I don't want to do that. So, anyways, I got to see, as my daughter keeps saying, well, if he's suffering, you need to take him in. And it's like, but I don't know that he's suffering. But right now, his stomach part looks a little bloated. but his waistline looks really thin. And then he was doing something this morning that it was reminding me of, like, oh, he's been doing this for a long time, where it feels like he starts chewing on his leg and like his legs are bothering him. So I don't know, but right now definitely his stomach looks kind of bloaty. So, and he is not, and I've been putting a lot of supplements in his food and vitamins and stuff like that, but probiotics, all sorts of stuff. But but he's eating less, but he's drinking a lot. So I don't know. But that's the thing. Like, if we're just gonna go in and look, and then so if we can see if there's tumors, so that we can put him on CHMO, it's like, well, I don't see why I would do that then, because it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I kind of, Crystal, I kind of do think, like, well, that vet just went to the quickest thing, like, oh, his tonsils are swollen, that's what's wrong, and we'll put him on the antibiotics, but not realizing that the tonsillitis is secondary. There's something primary that's going on that's causing the tonsils to swell. So, anyways, I don't know, but his waist is looking thin, and if he does start being really uncomfortable and in pain, I guess, I would have to take him in to have him put out of his misery. But yeah, if that's the only thing they're looking for, because that's what happened with Winston, and they want to do all this in ultrasound and stuff on him, but he needed to have his bladder be full, and then and they were getting upset because he couldn't hold it, and I was like, well, what are we looking for? And then they said, well, CA and I was like, well, so if we find that, like, what are the options? Like, what are we going to do? And then they start telling me, it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. That's all we got going? So you want to go in and look for this to tell me I need to do something that I'm not going to do? And so anyways, that's the hard line of trying to figure out, like, this whole thing with, I don't know, we're all dealing with all sorts of things and all sorts of sicknesses. Is this in your way, lady? And our room is so crowded. It's the worst for Stella. She is like, oh, but I did have a dream last night that she had taken off running. I think it was her and Max, and they took off running, and she never does that. And she was running through the street, dodging through traffic and stuff. I was having a heart attack. I was trying to get her, and I just remember I was like chasing her all over the place. She was running all over the place, and all of a sudden she jumps over this balcony thing and goes down and splats down on this. It's like, I don't know, maybe 2 stories down or something, maybe just 1.5, but it was like going down and then splatting down. And then I start going, oh my gosh, look what you did. And she's like trying to stand up, and I'm like, now you're really going to be sore all day long. And so she gets up and she starts walking. It's like, it was so weird. I don't even know. The whole dream was weird. But every single time I was going to sleep, I was in some crazy weird dream world. But anyways, poor girl, it is crowded in here. I want us to have a bigger house this morning she was getting on the bed, and I was like, oh, you just want this bed to yourself? You want your own bedroom now? Are you a big girl? You want your own bedroom? I don't know if I give her own bedroom, if she would be happy with it. But another thing, too, is like I'm hoping that, because now we're 1 week left of February. This is our last week of February. Then we got March to get through, which no telling what all's going to go on in March. That there's a lot of talk, though, about, disclosure now about the aliens and stuff, and what Donald's saying, and the whole thing being brought up about Barack and whatnot. But if the med beds are truly going to be in the beginning of April, which I would hope they'd be sooner. A guy was just talking about on his next door that had this whole thing about, people were talking about this road was closed off. There was all these police and all these big trucks that were going with this big delivery. And we're talking about these were so huge, and they were all going to Mayo Clinic. And so people in the comments were all like, because a lot of people don't trust the man because, experiment and unethical behaviors. And so Anyways, but when I was listening, I was like, oh, I wonder if that could be the med beds. Maybe they're being delivered. And so I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing is like for Max, you know, if he can make it for a few more weeks and whatever ailments we have, if we really do get to have them by then, it's like, oh my God, it's already 2026. We've been waiting a long time for these things. Like a lot of us started hearing about they were coming in 2020. So now it's like, geez, man, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And, but I think a part of the waiting was not to just to have a savior, not to just depend on, oh, come in and save me, you know, this med bed's going to make me all better. It's like we have to figure out what we need and start making ourselves better. This morning when I was like looking at all my supplements and stuff, I have the dogs on all these supplements, I'm on all these supplements, all my teas and all that stuff. It's like doing everything, you know, for our own selves, taking care of ourselves, trying to become our best version of ourselves and be our healthiest version, especially at a period of time where it's very difficult, it's challenging. And so I think, you know, we were meant more to really try and the mind, body, spirit, you know, really trying to get in touch with ourselves and what we need and try and figure out, like, and get more in touch with the herbs and the plants and the planet and nature and natural and stuff. So, there's a bug. I don't know what the hell kind of bug that is. A flying bug. Just zoomed in out of where the hell did it come from? Like, what? So anyways, it's a government bug. They just come through the walls. They just come in, just spying on me from somewhere. Somewhere watching me, sending the recording in. So, anyways, I saw this wig. I really want to get this wig that I saw. So kooky, but I really like this wig. It's really curly. Trying to curl my hair, it doesn't hold. Like my hair used to hold a curl better, but it won't hold a curl. My hair likes to be straight. And so, anyways, I really want to get this curly wig. It's really cute. It seems like kooky. But anyways, I might get one and then I'll come in and I'll wear it on a recording so y'all can see. I'm trying really hard to decide now between the honey blonde or the ginger, which I did do my hair red for a while, but red is really hard to keep up. And this is back when I was coloring my hair. And so I had red hair. A lot of people thought that was my real color and they would tell me how pretty it was and stuff. So I was thinking, maybe I do want to do the red curly hair because, I don't look bad with red hair, I don't think. But I don't know. I have a lot of red in my hair. But then if I do like the honey blonde one, it's going to be like super similar to my hair color now. So I think, well, that would probably look fine. But I don't know. I kind of want to be a little daring. If I had enough money, I'd probably get both of them. But it was like, well, maybe I want to be a little daring. Maybe I want to have like a red curly hair wig to go out in. I don't know. So, anyways, so the med bed, you know, that whole thing could be closed, hopefully, you know, I mean, we have been waiting, but not just waiting, because you couldn't really just wait, because you'd probably die. It's like, save yourself. You got to do something to take care of yourself. You got to start eating right and taking better care of yourself and stuff, which, I've seen more people talking now, you know, like this whole thing with our food, and even people in other countries when they start finding out, like, oh, well, you know, if you were getting your meat from us, buyer beware. It's probably, you know, some neighbors. So anyways, more and more truth. Do we really want to know all the truth? That's the thing. There's me a lot of people. I was happier not knowing the truth, but that's, you know, that's the part of the challenges, is overcoming the truth and being able to deal with it. You have to be able to handle your emotions. Otherwise, you know, you'd be losing it and falling apart. And that is, you know, it's just part of the trap of holding you. So, anyways, it is important to just go through all the things happening and keep, trying to figure yourself out and stuff. But definitely aim towards where it is you want to go. Don't just listen to all these people. There's so many people out there saying, well, this is the future. This is the future. It's like, well, that may be your future. That doesn't mean it's all our futures. We're about to go through a big split, where the diversity of vibration is going to go in the direction that it is. You're going to go into alignment with other people at your vibration, and so it's going to be based on who you vibe with, where your vibration, your frequency. So yeah, whatever different timelines that people are going to, that's what they're here to experience. And we don't have to go in, but if you believe in it and you go into that's like taking a knee to somebody else's vision. And the thing is you want to be working on is creating your own vision. Like, what are your guides telling you? What is it you feel in your heart? What is your soul trying to speak to you? What is it trying to direct you into learning and growing? Where is it trying to get you to focus on? And then I think, there's going to be also some people who could never get in touch with their soul, and it kind of just keeps them in the loop of reincarnation, of lower vibration reincarnation, until they reach the point of being able to really get in touch with their soul and understand themselves and be able to find themselves. Because you get lost in this low vibration. Even if it's a simulation, it's in a low vibration. It's in the dark spaces, and so you can get lost in there. And then you need the light to come in and show you the way. But yeah, there's lots of people like, don't go to the light. It's like, the light's a trap. It's like, well, I think you're thinking of it in a different way than what I'm saying about it. It's like, you got the dark and you got the light. You don't want to be heading towards the dark. You got to recognize that it's the dark, and you want to be headed towards the positive, the light, the higher frequency. And so I'm not just saying go to the light. I'm talking about the light of the frequency, the light compared to the dark. And we are going from dark to light. So you got to find your way out. You got to bring in some light to find your way out of the dark. And your soul carries the light. Your guides are in the light. They're trying to express or communicate with you in which direction to go and help you through the details or the purging out of all of the vibration that holds you back. So the parts of you where, some of them are friends and family from other past lives, and some are from these lives, and some are your ancestors, and it's all different people. It's all different beings out there trying to communicate with you and trying to help you along your path, just like the Yellow Brick Road. There was people along the way to help her on her path. That's what we have. We're on a path. We're going towards the Emerald City, and along the path we're going to have people trying to help us, but it's up to us to really all of a sudden realize, it was always with me. It was always in my shoes. It was always there. I had the opportunity with me the whole time. And so that is because everything is in you. Everything that you need to do to rise out is in you. We don't really need to go and look to anyone else. You don't need anyone else to tell you what the future is, because it's inside of you. So anyways, and we don't all have the same ones. That's the thing. It's like, there's going to be a lot of future timelines. There's going to be a lot of available spaces. And so, as a creator being is more of, you want to create the space that you want to go to. You want to go into the world you want to. And that's what it is in the heavens. So in the heavens, you go where you want to go. That's why I say, as a light being, you come into the dark to go through experiences, because in the light, it's all peachy keen. It's just like you do what you want, when you want, you go where you want, everything's like, but I think at some point that can kind of become like boring or stagnant, like you're not really progressing. So you want to experience, you want to understand yourself, like, well, and I think that there is like a fun part of the sense of the game of playing different characters. Like, I think that is also like a draw. Like, that'd be fun to go be this person for a while. That'd be fun to go play this part for a while. And so I think that kind of is the draw of coming in to reincarnate, is because it's, I mean, if you're just going and doing things that you want all the time, we're talking about infinity. We're talking about forever and ever and ever. And then plus, if other people are advancing and learning and growing, then I think your ego is kind of like, well, I want to learn and grow. I want to be smarter. I want to experience things. So I'm going to, go down there in that matrix. I'm going to go down there in that simulation. I'm going to go down into the lower spectrums so I can experience what it is to feel, what it is to be in love, and I think that there's love, but it's not like the same kind of thing. Like, down here you get to experience partnership love. Like, you get to experience, what it is to be hugged. Well, if you don't have a body, you don't have arms and legs and stuff like that, when you're just a light being, then how are you going to experience that? I think you can, through memory, through participating, through these kinds of experiences, then you know what it feels like. So then when you go back into the light and you create your vessel, then you know what hugging's gonna feel like. So it's a part of your code. So you can be like, I'm gonna hug, and then I'm gonna feel the energy. I'm gonna come together with your energy and feel your energy, and you can feel my energy. And so, but I don't know that, up in the heavens, that we have any interest in even doing that. So anyways, there's a reason why this place exists. There's a reason why we come into this place, and it's not as dark and horrible as people want to think. And even for people who seem to be stuck, that's not, it's not as stuck as what we think it is. It's just, through the stages of development, they're here, and you're going over here, and they're going over there. It's just like, it's all it is. It's not, like, well, they're doing it wrong, they need to do what I'm doing. That's ego. So everybody knows, everybody's got their own timeline, their own map, their own reason that they're here. So it's not up to us. It's not our thing to decide, who's right and wrong, and who's going here, and who's going to the good place, and who's going to the bad place. I just know for me, I want to go to experience the opportunity to live a long time, to get to live in a beautiful, harmonious place, and to get to be around people who are all loving and caring and creating, and I usually see it as like creating all of these different kinds of spaces of existence that are a lot more like, kind of, as now we live in like a very generic place. Everything is so generic, but you think back, like even the Tartarian land, the Tartarian it's not architecture, and then even older homes and stuff, the detail, the craftsmanship, and the more that people put into things, even the music, there was more soul in the music, and then they started becoming just like techno and digital music, and it lost its soul, it lost its rhythm. And so we're going to go shift back into a period of time where people develop, people create, but it shows more parts of themselves. It's more of a getting to, what is that word? It's where you get to parts of you that you get to bring out, parts of you that are, creative, the creative parts of you that you get to bring out. And there's going to be all sorts of people who have these parts that are going to be bringing them to the surface. So it's not going to be just like generic homes like what we live now. It's going to be all sorts of different kinds of places and cities. And to me, it's going to be a lot more artsy. Everything is going to be a lot more artsy. And places will be a lot more creative looking, not so just plain. So anyways, that's the world I want to go to. That's the world I want to create. And so that's my destiny. Or my destination. That's where I'm, the target is where I'm, how do I get there? Well, I got to shed this. I got to do this. I got to work on me. And even when you feel like, you're failing and stuff, that's where you want to find like, oh, I got to not judge myself. I'm just here learning. I'm here growing. I'm here experiencing. I'm not here to hate myself. I'm here to learn how to love myself. So learn how to love yourself. Learn how to love everybody. And learn how to have the day you want to have, Figure out how to use your mind, your emotions. Figure out how to maneuver through all of this darkness. And so, and we'll see what today brings. I'm sure it's going to bring us a lot of opportunities to practice. So we'll see what this day brings us, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.